Well, everybody, I'm Brian. I'm your friendly host on this show. Today, I have two special guests with me. The first guest on my left is Martin Luther King. Give him a grand clap. And on the left over here, on the other side of me, I have Malcolm X. Today, we're going to be discussing a few questions that the viewers have asked me to ask these two fellow civil rights movement activists, leaders in this movement, and see how they will respond to these questions that we have now in the Black Lives Matter movement. So, Martin Luther King, I have 6 questions for you today. The first question is, how do you think blacks should approach the shooting of blacks? Well, thank you for having me here. Hello, Brian. I'm happy to be here. So, going to the first question. We're looking at everything that happened in the past with Trayvon Martin, 2014, and Zimmerman shooting him. I feel like we should protest at the White House to show the president that we demand change. Now, for the second question that we have for Martin Luther King is, what ways can we have envisioned your methods? Martin Luther King? Response to this, I believe that I see using the protesting methods that I have showed y'all in the past of showing that this is the right way of nonviolence. But there's certain parts in the protesting gets violent, which isn't something that I like to do because that's not something I wanted to happen. Okay, now for the third question. We're almost there. If we wanted to change, how should we do this? In terms of the Black Lives Matter movement and how you would change things. Because nothing will change if we use violence instead of protesting and voicing our opinion. Your fourth question of the day is, who should we go to talk to about this problem? Because with black activists and black people who are protesting against everything, who do we go and speak to? Because that's the real big question is, do we go out to legislators or our Senate and ask and protest there, or do we go straight to the source? Yes. Okay. To make deals with the president and go to the White House, like how I said in the second question, that these people who we need to address won't give us the time of day if we don't go up there to actually express ourselves to them. Do you understand? Thank you. So, the fifth question that we have here, are you proud of the blacks who are protesting for the shootings of these young innocent black women and children who are out here dying on the streets with these police shooting us? Thank you. Now, for the last question. Oh, yet another question. I'm sorry. So, for the last question, yes, I'm proud, but there's some downfalls in the protesting that the Black Lives Matter movement have done. For example, like how in 2015 there was the riot in Ferguson for this death of this young boy. Yes, Michael Brown, I'm talking about. It was a sad tragedy, but the riots should have never came out. We should have been out in the streets protesting to show the pain of the death of another young black brother. For your final and last question of the day is, until we go switched over to Malcolm X on the other side, this question is, how do you keep your cool when you're leading these people? Because when we look at history, you were a wonderful civil leader who had principles of thinking a non-violent protest against these social injustices. Now for your last question. In everything that I went through having threats from people who wanted me to be quiet about having justice for my skin color. All I did was pray to God to give me strength to make it through this. And to protect my family. Because that's all I care about is my family and my faith with God. Because God will lead the way. Thank you. Give Martin Luther King a clap, people. Now, Malcolm X. Mr. X, if I can call you that. I have only 5 questions that the viewers of this show have to ask you. The first question is, would you give weapons to the protesters in the Black Lives Matter movement? Yes, yes, I would give the people weapons for the death of Trayvon Martin. Because we need to get out there and get justice for the black community. Now for your second question that we have here, when we have riots, should we do them in a different way? In terms of different ways, should we have weapons out with us to use self-defense, use Molotov, pepper spray to defend against police who are coming after us? Because there's different things that we can look at in this. What is your response on this? That's what I would have done. That's why I will give weapons to the people who were protesting for any of the black brothers and sisters who died out there. Let's go to the next question. Question 3. What are some ways that we can do to show our pain in the black community? Because you know, with the different shootings and all these different eras of times of police brutality shooting us for having nothing with us. As people rioted in Ferguson for the death of Michael Brown, as we the people needed to show the police that you don't kill a black child and get away with it. I want my black brothers and sisters to arm up and defend themselves against these killers out here who's wearing the white and blue. The fourth question that I have here is, should we go for an eye for eye? Because in your methods that we looked throughout history, you had this method of how we should, if one person of our color gets arrested, we should arrest one of theirs. So on your output, do you think we should do this, or should we have a different tone of voice and approach? Do you think we will turn out like how you wanted the civil rights movement to turn out when you were alive? When we look at the many deaths in my community, we see young black women and children out on the streets getting killed for no reason. Yes, we should. And looking at everything that's starting to turn out to be, yes, you'll end up turning into violence and trying to get justice because protesting goes so far. But when you look at it, it's not gonna get you nowhere until we actually rise up and actually be aggressive with it and defeat them and show them who is on top of everything. Thank you for having me here, Brian. Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you, thank you. Now you heard it, folks, about 2 perspectives on the Black Lives Matter movement and questions that you have asked, and we have received your answer. And this concludes the episode of Black Lives Matter with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.